It wasn't a flop, it wasn't a slip, it was a hit. Real, deliberate, and loud enough to silence the gym. Clark stepped into space, tried to rise, and got slammed to the floor. Her body bounced. For a second, time froze. No cheers, no boos. Just that heavy thud echoing. And just like that, someone knocked the face of the league on her back. But here's the part they didn't see coming. Clark didn't flinch. She didn't whine. She didn't talk to the ref. She got up slowly, stared straight ahead, and started what would become one of her coldest responses yet. Because what followed wasn't a revenge play. It was a 40-minute dismantling, possession by possession, pass by pass, shot by shot. And that's where this story begins. Clark came off the top of the key and saw the screen being set, but she didn't take it. She rejected it, went away from the coverage, right into JJ Quinterly. From that moment on, it was physical. JJ rode her hip through the lane, swiping, bumping, jabbing with every step. Clark kept going. She absorbed the contact, searching for daylight that never came. And then Quinterly swung, not at the ball, but at the body. Just as Clark lifted to score, JJ sent her to the floor, hard. The whistle blew, but the arena didn't react right away. Clark's back hit the hardwood with force, and for a second, nobody moved. She stared up at the lights. She wasn't hurt, but she was hit. And that was enough. She stood slowly, said nothing, just walked to the line. Every step after that felt like a response, not just to the foul, to the game itself. The Fever had opened with pace, but so had Dallas. Araka Umbanal pushed the tempo off a miss and found Lee Weru streaking down the floor, but Indiana didn't blink. On the very next play, Boston drove in strong, drew the defense, and kicked it out to Hull. She swung it to Clark, who was already planted deep behind the arc. The shot didn't touch the rim, just net, just Clark. Dallas didn't rattle. Paige Bokers answered from the mid-post, catching clean off the inbound and drilling a soft jumper in rhythm. The Fever came back with timing. Clark waited, read the switch, then fired a perfect bounce pass to Kelsey Mitchell backdoor. Layup. Easy. Then she made it harder. Next play, Clark jumped a passing lane, poked the ball loose, and took it coast to coast for two. Offense, defense, all hers. Then came the second hit. With 6.5 left in the first, Clark rejected another screen and drove hard. But this time, the help came early. Quinterly again. The foul was called, but the message was clear. Clark didn't argue. She just got up, buried both free throws, and the Fever stayed sharp. Dallas responded again. Bueckers nailed a three off a smooth handoff, but the Fever moved in sync. Clark and Boston ran a quick action at the top. One slip, one look, one pass. Howard was wide open under the basket. 2 points. The Wings had fire, but Indiana kept control. Azia James hit a clean corner, 3 off a dish from Bueckers, then Bueckers got one herself with a controlled bump and soft glass finish, but Indiana had the final say. After a scramble, Timpson crashed the boards and put them back up strong. End of one. Fever up 28-27, but the edge belonged to Clark. The second quarter opened with Ari McDonald getting straight to it, just her and her defender. She took a step back and buried it. That was the spark. The Fever tightened the grip from there. Clark didn't wait. She forced a defensive collapse on the next play, then calmly slipped the pass to Natasha Howard for the finish. The Wings looked rattled. Clark wasn't just reading them, she was rewriting the playbook mid-possession. Then came the play that flipped the gym. Quinterly tried to get hers, drove hard at Clark, thinking she had the edge. She didn't. Clark stuffed her at the rim, and before the crowd could react, Clark had the ball and was already launching it full court. Sophie Cunningham caught it in stride and finished the break with ease. That was a statement. Indiana started slicing them apart. Next came the short roll with Boston. Clark found her just above the elbow. Boston rose up and drilled the jumper clean. Even when Dallas scored, it came off a lucky slip. Clark had hit the deck and the Wings had numbers. Quinterly found Weru alone for the bucket. Because Clark came right back, she found Lexi Hull ahead in transition and dropped a one-bounce dime right into her shooting pocket. Hull set her feet and nailed the three. Dallas tried to keep pace, Buckers came off an off-ball screen and knocked one down, but Clark wasn't slowing. Boston faked the handoff, turned the corner, took the bump, and finished strong. One more free throw made it count. Then Clark iced the quarter with a step-back triple that didn't even move the net. The Wings closed with a drive and kick to Ozzie James for three, but it didn't change what had already been written. By halftime, the Fever led by 22, and Caitlin Clark had taken over without saying a single word. Caitlin Clark opened the second half by showing just how many ways she can beat you. Isolated on the wing, she slowed things down with a patient dribble. Then came the step back. Clean separation, 18-foot jumper. It looked routine, but it wasn't. That shot came from a player who had been thrown to the floor and chose not to retaliate. She answered with control. The Wings tried to regroup, but before they could reset, Clark had the ball again. She took one glance down court and fired a three-quarter pass to Mitchell on the move. It didn't float. It cut. Mitchell caught it in rhythm and scored at the rim without breaking stride. Indiana wasn't just pushing tempo. They were picking apart every inch of the floor. Dallas tried to punch back. They dumped it inside to Wiru, who posted deep and spun through contact for a soft finish. But the Fever came right back with the same clarity they'd shown all night. Clark ran the pick and roll with Boston. One hard hedge by the defender was all she needed. Boston popped free and hit another jumper from the elbow. Next time down, it was Mitchell who ran the same play. Boston set the screen, reversed it, and Mitchell rewarded her with a clean bounce pass in traffic. 8-footer. That shot was automatic now. Dallas couldn't guard it, and the Fever knew it. Buchers kept fighting. She got loose on the wing, took two strong dribbles, and buried a tough runner through contact. That got a reaction from the crowd. But Indiana never blinked. Clark took the screen, waited just long enough for the switch, and hit Dantas rolling to the rim. And just like that, the Fever bench was on its feet again. Even with Dallas getting sparks from Buchers, the gap wasn't closing. Not really. She kept coming. Next time in transition, Buchers attacked hard, absorbed a bump, and still finished the layup while drawing the foul. She hit the free throw and walked back with her jaw clenched. But the Fever kept answering, over and over again. On the final Dallas possession of the quarter, Buchers hit a tough pull-up over a close contest, but Indiana didn't flinch, not once. The quarter closed with the Fever still up by 21. Every time Dallas made a move, Indiana had a response, and Clark was still orchestrating everything from the middle of the storm. Then came the fourth. Ari McDonald started it with a no-look dime to Howard under the rim. It was quick, it was clean, and it was a message. The Fever weren't playing the score, they were playing to finish. But Dallas didn't roll over. Buchers kept her foot on the gas. She drew attention at the top and slipped a bounce pass to Quinterly cutting baseline. Layup. Wings had a flicker of momentum. Buchers stayed aggressive. Next trip down, she beat Howard off the dribble and floated in a soft runner before the defense could rotate. That gave her 21, but it wasn't enough. Clark controlled the pace again. She caught the closeout, attacked hard, and dumped it off to Boston for her 11th assist of the night. Then she showed the full court vision again. Off a long rebound, she grabbed it, turned, and lasered another deep lead pass to Mitchell. Nothing Dallas could do. It didn't stop there. Clark took the screen, collapsed the defense, and whipped a no-look hook pass through two defenders to Howard for another clean finish at the rim. Every pass felt like a quiet answer to the hit she took earlier. Buchers refused to go away. She rejected the screen with a sharp move and finished at the rim again. But Indiana kept scoring. Timpson caught it at the high post and worked her way into the paint with patience. One pivot, one drop step, one soft lefty finish. The Fever offense was a machine. By the final 2 minutes, the game was sealed. With 30 seconds left, Sophie Cunningham drew the defense with a drive and kicked it to Sydney Colson on the wing. Wide open. That three put the final mark on the scoreboard. Indiana 102, Dallas 83. But the score was never the story. The story was the moment Clark hit the floor and everything she did after. She didn't lash out, didn't play angry. She played sharp, efficient, and cold. She took the hit, got up, and turned the rest of the game into a lesson. Every assist, every block, every skip pass and dagger three. It all traced back to that one collision. They knocked Caitlin Clark to the ground, but they forgot to keep her there. So the next time someone tries to make a statement with a foul, they might want to think twice, because Clark doesn't retaliate with words. She retaliates with control. And when she does, the scoreboard keeps the receipts.